Hello, I'm Jon Ash, the Chief Clinical Information Officer. So in this video, I'm going to give you a demonstration of how we admit a patient on the Cerner electronic patient record.
Now we are going to admit patient Snow White, request some investigations and prescribe some medications. Now, I've already done another video where I do an orientation to the Cerner system. So if you've not watched that, I would recommend you do so first. So, as you'll see at the top here are the various workflows or M pages, and we are going to start with the admission workflow, which it has defaulted to. So this menu down here, I've set to my preferences, but as demonstrated in the other video, this order can be easily changed by simply dragging and dropping, and elements of the workflow can be hidden if not relevant to the specialty or clinician. Once you've set things up as you wish, your settings will be saved for the next time you go in. So the case I'm going to present today is one of pelvic pain. So as you can see, the first box is that of the presenting complaint. Now, as this patient has been admitted from ED, this diagnosis has carried across, but I could amend it if I wished. So next we have the history of presenting complaint. So this is free text that I'm going to add in. Sudden onset, left-sided, low abdominal pain, 10 out of 10 at worst. Started 3 hours ago, previously well. So we'd always recommend that as you go along, you save as you go. Next we have specialist history. So this is where you can present those pieces of information that are more specialty specific. So I'm going to add in no previous pregnancies, previous laparoscopy showing endometriosis. Save. So next we have something called a problem list. Now this includes both symptoms and diagnosis and is based on SNOMED codes. Here it's really important to clarify what is a new problem and what is a chronic one. And in some cases it will be for both. For example, if a patient has an acute exacerbation of COPD. Now those problems assigned as chronic will stay on the patient record regardless of who enters them. However, new problems will only remain for that visit and will not reappear in subsequent admissions unless they are added as chronic. Now this is an example where some time investment by one clinician at the beginning of a patient's journey will reap dividends for multiple clinicians further down the line. Now, as you can see, this patient has already been admitted and a chronic diagnosis of asthma has already been assigned, and this is carried on to this new admission. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add another problem. So if I click on the problem list, add the diagnosis. I'm just going to add in the endometriosis that was recorded before. There. Okay. And then there are some of the fields I can add if I wish, but there are no further mandatory fields. So we refresh the screen and you can see the endometriosis is there. What I do need to do is to add that as a chronic, and I'll leave it as this visit because it may be relevant to her symptoms. Now, the next thing is home medications. So again, from a previous admission, one can see that salbutamol has been added. And that's all she... So if I am going to... So just add that she's also on the microgynon contraceptive pill. And as you can see, that's come up under home medication. So it's pretty straightforward to add that. It's also possible to directly prescribe this during the admission clerking. And in terms of allergies, again, from a previous admission, we can see that she's been noted to have an allergy to penicillin. There. So next we're going to move to the review of systems. Now this is very amenable to something called auto text, which you may have heard about. This is powerful functionality within the system that allows clinicians to add in blocks of text that they frequently use and then can edit them accordingly. So this is just one example that is already in the system, but each clinician can make their own, or trust-wide ones can be used. So this is the one that comes up. So this is a review of systems, and as you can see, that shows the normal findings. So I'm just going to then say that, see the abdominal one then, she's in pain, so we're just going to take that out because that's already been looked at. So if I click save there. Now in terms of vital signs, when the system is used in the live environment, then this would be populated from the nursing observations done through the patient track system. So next we move on to examination findings. So I'm just going to add normal BMI, acute left pelvic pain, normal speculum. So the next thing now I'm going to do is to order some blood tests. Now Cerner uses the principle of orders, which I realise sounds a bit American, but there we are. Now an order is pretty much any action that you need to arrange or to request, and this will include requesting blood tests, radiology, referrals to another specialty, and the adding of a patient to a theatre waiting list. Now, wherever possible for like type investigations, it's better to do a group of orders at the same time, as this will often reduce duplication. Now, as with many other parts of the system, there is the ability to set up favourites folder for commonly requested orders, thereby saving time. And here we have my ones there, and I've created some folders. And if I click on bloods, there we have these frequently used ones. So I'm going to have a CA125, a CRP, and a full blood count. Now, as you will notice, or may have, there's a little number here that goes up. So this is almost like your Amazon shopping basket. So once you've finished adding the investigations, then you need to check out. So if we click on here, so this brings us up to those investigations. So we now need to sign. So what it does is now is that brings you up, and when you see this little blue thing with the white cross, these are where there's outstanding information is required. And because they're blood tests, we could deal with most of them at the same time. So we can shift highlight and it will do it for all of them. So clinical details is pelvic pain. Specimen type is blood. So bleep there. Collection priority, well, we're going to take it as urgent. Now everything that's in yellow is mandatory, but we'll just say that we don't need to send a copy to the GP. We're going to sign that. And there we are, those investigations have been requested. And as you'll see, under plan and requested actions, that has appeared. So, next bit here is clinical summary. Now this is a useful piece of free text documentation that is carried through the patient's admission and into the other workflows. And what this is, allows the creation of a clinical summary that can continuously be updated during admission, and at the end will then serve as the clinical information sent to the GP. So if this is kept up to date during the admission, the discharge paperwork is very quick to complete. So as you can see, this I've already completed this. So admitted with acute pelvic pain, blood's requested for senior review, possibly imaging or possibly theatre. So at the end then, we are going to create the documentation. So again, I have some favourites. So gynecology, admission, clerking. And then you can give it a title. So what comes up now is what should be thought of as a first draft. So as you can see, this is all the information that we added, but we can edit and add to it at this point. Also, you will notice that there are several titles here that was not in the initial menu. That's because I had hidden these because they weren't relevant to my needs. But if I want to, then I can add to them at this point. So I've checked it and I'm happy with everything I've got. So I'm now going to sign it and commit it to the patient record. So this here, it just gives me the option to send this document to somebody else of my choosing. So it may be a junior doctor sending it to their consultant for review, or particularly in the outpatient setting, it can be useful to forward on to other staff members, such as a specialist nurse. But we're not going to do that now, and then we are going to finally sign it. Now, if we then always remember to regularly refresh, if we now go to documents, we can see our admission clerking note JPA is there under the documents. And if I click on it, there you can see it's there. And we've admitted a patient.
Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you found that helpful. If you'd like any further information, please have a look at our ePR SharePoint site.